She saved the alien leopard cub left to drown, but what the pack did to her was so amazing. The rain came down in silver sheets across the marshes of Velcara 9, thick and warm like the breath of the planet itself. Mira trudged through the alien swamp, her boots half sunken in mud, her breathing labored in the oxygen-thick air. She had been stationed here for weeks now, a remote terraforming surveyor on a forgotten world marked for possible colonization. She didn't mind solitude, but she did mind the screams. That morning, she had heard it, sharp, wild, and heart-wrenching. Not human. Not machine. Something in pain. Something small. And against her better judgment, she followed it into the depths of the wetlands. She didn't expect to find a cub. It was small, soaked, tangled in reeds, and struggling to keep its head above water in a shallow trench. Silver fur clung to its skeletal frame. Black markings ran like liquid across its back, and its eyes, huge and glowing violet, locked onto her with a desperate mix of fear and pleading. Mira knelt and pulled it free without hesitation. The cub hissed weakly, then went limp in her arms, exhausted. It wasn't just alien, it was beautiful. She'd seen pictures before. Locals called them Valari leopards, though they were no leopards at all. Apex predators. Fiercely intelligent. Said to communicate in low-frequency pulses. Said to be impossible to tame. And she was holding one. Day 1. She set up a shelter. The cub remained silent, lying curled in a corner, still too weak to move. She fed it protein gel and filtered marsh water. It didn't eat at first. But eventually, it accepted the food. She named it Shade. She knew she shouldn't be doing this. Interfering with local wildlife was against protocol. But the thought of leaving it to die haunted her. And no one checked this sector anyway. Day 5. Shade began to walk again. He followed her around the camp, cautiously. When she worked, he sat nearby, blinking slowly. At night, he nestled into her side, his soft purring low and steady. Sometimes, she could swear he was trying to speak, not with words, but with intent. His eyes would fix on hers, his tail curling in question. She talked to him. You weren't just abandoned, were you? Shade tilted his head. They left you to die. The low rumble in his throat wasn't anger, it was grief. Day 10. Mira was out scanning plant samples when she noticed the forest was silent. No birds. No insects. Then came the sound, low, deep, layered with vibrations she felt in her ribs more than heard with her ears. She turned and saw them. A pack of 7. Full-grown Valari leopards. They emerged from the trees with fluid grace, eyes glowing like molten amethysts, each nearly twice her size. One stepped forward, wearing the scarred face of an elder. Shade, who had been beside her, suddenly crouched low but did not run. Mira didn't move. She knew she couldn't outrun them. Couldn't fight them. Instead, she knelt beside Shade and wrapped her arms around him protectively. If you're here for him, she said softly, you'll have to go through me. Silence. The lead leopard moved closer. Its head lowered. Its nose touched hers. Mira closed her eyes. Then, a pulse. Not a sound. Not a growl. A vibration. Gentle, rolling, almost like a whisper beneath her skin. She opened her eyes. The leopard turned its gaze to Shade. The young cub stepped forward, trembling, and uttered a tiny, uncertain chirp. The pack responded in a way she never expected. They bowed. One by one, each adult Valari lowered its head before Shade, and then before Mira. She was stunned. What is happening? The elder leopard stepped forward again and lowered itself fully. It offered its throat, the universal sign of submission. Then Mira understood. Shade wasn't abandoned. He was exiled. A cub of the royal bloodline, weak, injured, assumed unfit to survive. cast aside by a law of strength and survival. But he survived. And not alone. With her. She didn't just save him. She raised him. And the pack had come to acknowledge that. That night, the leopards remained around her camp. They didn't attack. They didn't threaten. Instead, they offered gifts, fresh game, rare glowing fruits, even bundles of medicinal moss. They treated her as one of their own. And Shade, he stood tall among them now, no longer trembling, no longer weak. The elder even let him climb upon its back, the way only chosen heirs did. Mira stood beside him, her heart full. "You don't need me anymore, do you?" she whispered to Shade. He turned and touched his forehead to hers, just as the elder had. Another pulse. A soft, slow hum. She felt words. Not spoken, but felt. "You are pack." She blinked back tears. 2 days later. Her survey mission was over. Her shuttle waited at the ridge. The leopards watched her pack. Shade followed her to the ramp. She knelt. "You belong here now. They'll teach you what I couldn't." He nuzzled her hand, then did something he had never done before. He let out a high, rising call into the sky. One by one, the pack responded. 7 calls. 7 voices. Then silence. Shade turned and ran to them. Before the ramp closed, Mira looked out once more. The leopards were watching. And then, as one, they bowed again. To her. Weeks later, when Mira gave her final report, she said nothing about the leopards. Nothing about Shade. Nothing about the bow. Some things, she decided, belonged only to her. But in the months that followed, other teams began to notice odd things. Predators avoiding human paths. Campsites guarded overnight by unseen watchers. Rare medicines left beside tents. A strange pulse in the air, like a heartbeat in the soil. They called it legend. But Mira knew better. She had saved one life. And an entire pack had never forgotten.